The central theme of phase 1 is learning the absolute basics to get from where you are to where you want to be. But if you don't accept that where you are today isn't where you want to be, you can never move beyond this first phase. My oldest daughter really helped teach me this critical lesson. One morning in 2007, I woke up in our guest bedroom, which I started to frequent more and more over time with my drinking. And as I left the room, my wife came downstairs, clearly upset. She proceeded to tell me that my daughter Brianna, who recently turned 5, thought I was going to die and that I had to talk to her. Initially, I was really angry and I just assumed my wife was lying, but I knew I still had to talk to her. Brianna shared with me that she had a feeling that I was going to die and that she didn't know where or what it came from. Not only that, but it was clear that she was truly upset about this. It wasn't coming from her mother. What also struck me about this is death was something that she had virtually no exposure to, especially up to this point in her life. No family members, pets, or friends had even died, and we had really kept her protected from movies and TV. So death was a concept she barely had been exposed to at this young age. Yet she was overcome by this feeling, it was clear. And for me, the feelings aroused were some of the most intense I'd experienced in my life. Here, this daughter of mine was, this sweet, innocent, beautiful child telling me she was going to lose me. She was going to lose her daddy. And it was unbearable to me. She had no idea where it came from, but I knew where it came from. Call it God or a higher power or divine intervention or just children's intuition, it didn't matter. She was right. I was going to die. And I was going to die from alcohol. I knew that. It would be sooner than later if I didn't make a change. I had always believed that I was a good, if not a great father, even with the drinking. But what really hurt to the core was I realized I wasn't. Not because my drinking might take away my daughter's father, because it already had. My drinking had already taken away her father. And at that moment, my life changed. It was crystal clear that where I was and where I wanted to be weren't even close. But the great thing is with that painful moment came clarity, and that gave me great power and leverage to make change.
You know, I love that story. It's so powerful, and it moves me every time you tell it. And you know, it's very similar to an experience a friend of mine had. I had a friend whose father was an alcoholic, and they had pretty much tried everything to get him to change, all the usual things to get him to stop drinking, including constantly confronting him about the effect of his drinking. You know, it was having on the other family members and delivering ultimatums, and even they had a facilitated intervention. But nothing worked until one day when she broke down crying and told him how much she would miss him if he died. And that vulnerable, transparent, deep sharing about her fear of loss is what finally got him to stop and go into rehab. You know, whatever it takes, at some point, something occurs that makes you realize you have to get out of denial and face what isn't working. You have to really face and experience your own pain and the pain you're causing others, and not continue to numb it out with alcohol or drugs, because it just doesn't work. It's only a temporary reprieve from the pain, the anxiety, or the fear, but it's not a real solution. I think the thing to really take away from both of these stories is that when you feel like people don't understand and they are just attacking you, they're really coming from a place of love and fear. They love you, and they're afraid they're going to lose you. But because you don't always share it as vulnerably and as purely as your 5-year-old daughter did, it's so easy to believe that the people wanting you to change are just judging and rejecting you. You know, in your case, it took your daughter sharing with you how afraid she was that you were going to die to really see the love behind it, versus your wife. You know, she had the same love for you, but you interpreted it as judgment.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ultimate takeaway is if you're still living in denial, if denial is still holding you back from taking action and positive action in your life, you got to move beyond it, and you got to move beyond it right now. And that's really what all of phase 1 was about. So as you move forward through phase 2, recognize if denial is showing up in your life and take steps to overcome it.